Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to set up a WordPress website from scratch. Of course, you can use Wix, Squarespace, any of the other plug-in and play builders. You don't need me to show you how to do that. The advantage of WordPress is that they're much more flexible in the long run. You can easily hit a brick wall using Wix or Squarespace because they don't have all of the features that a standard website does. So you can shoot yourself in the foot in the long run when you go to add something and now you have to reform the whole website to make that happen. So WordPress, let's jump right in. First, we got to understand some concepts, and I'm going to make it as easy as possible on a very basic level, because there is some complicated things in this process, but at the very worst, all you're doing is copying and pasting numbers from different parts. You're not having to code or do anything complex like that. That's the whole thing we want to avoid, right? Make this easy. So whenever you visit a website, if you were to type in Amazon.com, what your computer does is, and this all happens in milliseconds, so it makes a request to what's called a DNS server, a domain name service server, and Amazon.com is a domain name. So we type that in, it makes a request to the server, and then that server sends us back that this domain is mapped to this IP address. That's where the server is located. That's where the files are, all the pictures that make up the web page. So we get that IP address, and then we make a request to that server, and then that server sends us back all the pictures, images, text, and builds the web page within our browser. So the reason it has to be set up this way is because if you hosted your website on your own computer, it would be as fast as your internet speed at your house, which if a lot of people connected to it, it would slow down increasingly. If your computer was shut off, then people couldn't access your website. So that's why we pay companies to host our website. They slice off a piece of their giant server, allow us to put their files on there so people can access it at any time, and they handle security, upkeep, and all of that stuff so we don't have to. So what we'll need to do to set up the basis for the website is buy a domain, set up a server to host all of our files, point that domain to that server so that when people type in our website, the request comes from the right computer, right? So that's the basics of what we're doing today. And I'm going to show you how to install WordPress, set up a basic page, themes, all of that stuff too. So let's select a hosting provider. Now, word of warning, EIG web hosting companies. This is a giant umbrella company that buys up a bunch of smaller hosts, and they do this all the time, and they have dozens and dozens of companies that look like they're independent companies, but they're all under this one big umbrella. And there are websites dedicated to telling people not to use this company, not to use any of their companies under that umbrella of EIG. And I can tell you from experience, I've used at least 2 or 3 of them, and they were all horrible. It's a pretty long list here. So like Bluehost, that's a big one. Domain Host, HostGator is another one on here. So a lot of these that, look like they don't have any relation to each other, they're all owned by this big company. So you can select whatever host you want, whatever domain name provider you want. This process, excuse me, will work for whatever you choose. If you have a preference, or if in your region there is a company that offers, service specific to your country or something like that, just a word of warning. I'm going to tell you which host I use, and that is A2 Hosting. I'll tell you why. They're a little bit more expensive after you get in past the introductory offers here. So reseller hosting, VPS, dedicated, we don't need any of those. Shared hosting is what you want to set up with whoever you decide to use for your hosting provider. So introductory offer is pretty darn good. I get as big of a chunk of that as you can afford, because I pay about, I think, 25 or 30 bucks a month now for everything, and it's great. So it's the fastest host that I've used, but it also has the best support. I mean, I've been blown away. There's been times where I'm under a massive amount of workload and something happens with a site, so I just message their support, say, hey, can you guys look at this? And they'll actually go into the site files and correct lines of code that needed to be fixed. So if you're not a techie person, I especially recommend A2 hosting. And that support, I don't have to pay anything extra for it. It's all just included in my monthly. And I believe all of their support is domestic to the US, so you're not getting outsourced people that are just reading from a script and, aren't really experts, and then you got to wait for it to get passed up the chain. But A2 hosting, that's my choice. So let's start here. You're going to want to click Get Started on whatever offer you want to start as. Now, they may offer you a free domain when you sign up. Nothing wrong with taking advantage of that. It might cost a little bit more than if you were to buy it by itself, but let's take a look. Landon Miles support. Oh, so they do have a bunch of domains. So there's all sorts of crazy dot whatevers you can get now. You can get dot Republican, dot soy, dot tattoos. So you can make it as cool as you want it to be. Now, if you're doing this for your business, I find it's still not intuitive to people that that's a website. So if it's like landonmilesupport.help, if you're going to put that on a business card or something, you're going to want to add http:// ahead of it so that it's easily understood that that's a website. But yeah, don't be scared of using any of these new cool domains that they have. So let's see, I will use an existing domain. If you buy your domain elsewhere, this is what you'll want to choose. And it'll walk you straight through the process of setting it up. And I'll show you how to buy a domain name separately and connect it into your hosting. But that's the basics there. Nothing wrong with registering it through them or using Namecheap or something like that. But you'll go through this whole long process. They have you fill out a bunch of information for the business address, business stuff. And this is all regulatory things that have to be collected whenever a website is registered. So if you want to buy your domains separate and keep them separate from your hosting, which is what I like to do, because that way if something ever happens to this host here, or if A2 goes down, or I need to switch for them for whatever reason, I don't have to worry about getting my domains out of here at all. Everything's on this separate platform. So when I get a new host, I can just point those domains to the new host, and I don't have to go through the whole process of unlocking them and moving them to a new registrar, which is a pretty big headache, takes a couple of days to do. So Namecheap. This is where I buy all my domains, namely because it is the cheapest that I've found. They have deals all the time as well, where you can get websites for a couple bucks or pennies even. Support.help. Let's see if that's available. Now, if a domain is unavailable, forget about it. Don't try and message the people or see if they'll sell it to you. Nobody's going to do that for less than a couple $100 if they already have the domain or it's taken. So it'll give me a couple other options here, like landonsupport.guide. It'll show me which ones have deals at the moment. Oh, let me see if landons.support. Might even buy that today. Oh, okay. So that is available. Cool. But you'll be looking at paying anywhere from $1 to $10 on average for for any of these domains. But once you find one you like, add to cart. 1 year registration. You can pick how long you want that to be. Up to you. If you're just starting the business and getting everything set up, I would do a year, you know, because you're allowed to change. Maybe 3 at the most. Depends on how often you want to think about this. But I mean, we're talking a couple bucks a year, whatever the case is. Now, one thing I love about Namecheap is they give you domain privacy for free for whatever domains that you buy. So what this is whenever you look up a website in this database, it's called the Whois database, and it's a regulatory website that shows you business information about every registered domain. Now, you have to put address, name, and phone number and all of that stuff into that database, so it's potentially an exposure for your personal information. What domain privacy does is it masks all of that so that they can't see your personal business information. And typically that's where you get a bunch of spam calls and stuff, is people will just scrape those databases and pull information and start, you know, sending crap out. So definitely get that. You don't need premium DNS. You don't need SSL, VPN, none of this stuff. Email, you can select that if you want. You know, have an email that's, I could say Landon at Landon support or Landon.support. So you have a professional email like that. You can also use Google or Office 365 if you're an Outlook person for your domain specific email. All that takes is some DNS configuration, so A2 hosting or whatever host you decide to use, set up your account, and I'm going to log into mine here. And we're going to get that IP address, because now once I've created my account and I have a spot on their server, they give you an IP address to access that. So that's this right here. When you log into whatever console you have, you're gonna might have went too fast for you there. So any host is gonna have sort of a dashboard, and then you're gonna see cPanel login. That's where you want to go to do all the actual work. You're actually inside of the server when you're on the cPanel. So that's what this is here. And this can look 1,000 different ways, but this is the basic setup of it. So I can add domains, set up emails. There's a bunch of crazy complicated stuff. To be honest, I haven't even clicked on probably 80% of this. You only need to worry about a couple things in here. But right now, shared IP address, that's the only thing that we need. So we're going to copy that. And so if I'm in Namecheap here and I want to buy that domain and check out and everything, let's go ahead and take a look at, gotta log in. Two-factor on all of these for sure. Last thing you want is your domain account getting compromised. So I'll show you this one right here. When you go into it, it'll have everything basically clean, like you're starting from scratch, which I also love about Namecheap. They don't throw a bunch of other stuff in here. I got to go in and change. So name servers. I'm going to keep this Namecheap basic DNS, so that way Namecheap is handling the DNS requests and not A2 hosting, because like I said, I like to keep them separate. Redirects, all this other stuff, you don't need to worry about that. And this is the contact information I was telling you about. If you have domain privacy, all this stuff is masked so people can't see it. And that's in one of my old addresses anyway. All right, so what we want to do is point this domain to this server in A2 so we can start putting our files in there and building the website. So we're going to go to Advanced DNS. And this most likely is going to be blank, but you're going to need to add what's called an A record. And this just, it connects that domain to an IP address. That's all it does. So we're going to go add new record. There's a bunch of different types in there. Just a record host. What website is that? And it's the one that this is under, High Street. So we're just going to do @ and then I'm going to paste that IP address. But as you can see, I already have it in there. And then click apply. Now it may take 5 minutes for this to work. It may take 5 hours. All depends, because this record is spreading out through the entire world across all the different DNS servers. So if somebody in China types in my website, everybody in the world knows what IP address to send them to. So that's all we got to do in here. So we're set on our domain name. We have that pointed to our server here, and we are ready to add that domain inside of our host here. So we're going to go to the section of domains. I'm going to go create a domain, and we're just going to type that in. Oh, right there. So I've already added it, but share document root. Oh, okay. This honestly doesn't matter. It's just how it structures the files on the back end. Won't affect how you're working it or anything. I like to have it unchecked so that the website's built in a folder by itself, and just makes it easy. So if on my server, highstreet.life, everything on the website will be in there, so I can copy it, back it up, do anything I need to with it. So that domain is now in the system. So we have the domain connected to the host. We have the domain added to the host. Now we need to install WordPress in that file space that we've made now. So this, I wonder if I can show you the actual file. Okay, cool. Yeah. So right here, highstreet.life. And this is all the website files. All the WP, that's WordPress. So this has WordPress already installed on it. But this is what the back end of your website looks like. It's just a folder with a bunch of files. It's all the website ever is. All right, so in this particular host, they have a software installer. So you don't have to do that yourself. And even the worst hosts have a software installer, or it might say app installer or something like that. But you're going to go into there. So this A2 uses a software installer called Softaculous. So I'm just going to click into that here. So now I'm in the software installer where I can put all sorts of different software on my server. There's forums, there's all kinds of stuff. A lot of it's kind of outdated, like not many people use it too much anymore. But I'm going to search WordPress, and oh, that's weird. And here it is. So I've got, so there's a couple different, you might see a couple different ones in here. Like here's WordPress A2 Optimize, WordPress, WP Beginner, WordPress plus Elementor. Anything besides just WordPress, all it is a WordPress installation that has extra plugins and themes that already come with it. I like to build from scratch because I usually end up removing that stuff anyway. So we've got WordPress selected here. Here's the page. So we're going to click install. Now we're going to pick our domain that we added, highstreet.life. We don't need to put it in any other subdirectory. And it's good to you can change all this stuff later, but it's good to have it filled out whenever you're installing it. So high street quality canna accessories. It's another client of mine. Admin username. This is to log in to your WordPress. I always make mine admin, and then I use LastPass to put a password in here and then have it remember it for me, so it's high strength. But type in a password you can remember and change this email to your main primary email. So if you need to reset the password, you can actually get it. Select plugins. I'm not going to select any of these because I can put in whatever I want. English. All right, advanced options. Now, what you're going to do is in the table prefix, I'm going to change that to high ST or something friendly that I can understand with this site. All this does is make things easier if you ever need to dig in and solve a problem, and it makes the tech or whoever does it easier to identify the database table, because it's not just some random letters. Because if you have five or 10 different websites, you're going to have 5 or 10 different tables, and having them named to their website, it makes things so much easier. I'm going to go ahead and select auto upgrade WordPress plugins and themes, just because I'm bad about it. I forget to do it, and that opens up vulnerabilities. So I set everything on automatic. Now, backup locations, automatic backups. Let's just set once a month if it's just a standard site that I'm building. And I'm going to email the installation details to me. And then we click install, and it'll load through the installation. It might take a couple minutes to do, but once that's done, now we're ready to go to the actual website and log in to WordPress. So I'm gonna go to my own here. So I would type in I might have a login block on that. Yeah. But as you can see, I'm at this website, ist.life, and it's a WordPress installation. And we've just got a little basic landing page for them. We're in the process of making a store right now. So let me go to my website. And that's typically what you'll type in is your website /login or WP login. And it'll take you right here to the WordPress dashboard. And we'll log in, and boom, now we're inside our server, and we're inside of our WordPress installation within that. And now we can start building pages and adding themes and all of that fun stuff. So one theme that I am a huge fan of is Divi. It does everything. It includes a theme builder. There's no code necessary to make it work and make it look good. And they come with a lot of templates that you can easily swap out and change things, and have a pretty darn good looking site pretty fast. So, of course they're gonna make the pricing invisible. So they have a couple options. You can buy it for, let me see. So themes can be priced a couple different ways, and this is good to keep in mind while you're shopping for them. Okay, yeah. So Divi has 2 options. Yearly access plan. You can use it on as many websites as possible, and they give you a year of update, year of support, $89 for a year. Lifetime access is $249. I actually have the lifetime access. I paid $180 for it back in the day. God, like, it had to be like 8 years ago. Worth every penny. I've used it on dozens and dozens and dozens of sites. And you also get these plugins as well for like email pop-ups and different sharing plugins. Really cool stuff. And all of the templates are included in that. So great place to start. There is another theme that I use, and it is called Pro Theme. And it's by this company called themeco. And this one I believe is a little bit more expensive because you have to pay per website. And some themes will do it all different ways. They'll have you buy it once and you can use it on as many sites, as many times as you want for as long as you want. You buy a year and you can use it on as many sites, or just one site, or there's lifetime deals where you can use it on as many sites as you want. Just pay attention to that whenever you're purchasing it, because obviously the themes that you can use more times are going to have a better value for you in the long run. So I guess they've got a sale going on right now. So I use Divi if I'm doing just a basic website, and I use Pro Theme if I need as many options as possible, and there's going to be a lot of moving parts, you know, and I may want to add in some custom code or something like that. So once you pick your theme, and it can be whatever, I would definitely try and demo it out before downloading it, because it's the easiest way to figure out if it'll work for you and your style. So let's go. Where did my website go? Oh. Okay. So I've picked a theme, I've purchased it, and I've downloaded the zip file for that theme. So now I'm going to go into my WordPress installation here. Appearance, themes, add new, upload theme, and I'm going to choose that zip file that I downloaded. And I'm sure I've got a Divi in here. So I'm going to select divi.zip, open it, install now, and that might take a couple minutes to do. And now in your theme set, you have the Divi theme. Normally WordPress will have like 3 other ones in here, but you don't have to use those, or you can just ignore them. So I don't want to switch the theme up on mine. Let me get into another website that has Divi. Oh, yeah. This is a crypto project I'm doing some marketing and stuff for. Bruno. So I'm going to log in. I'm going to go to the dashboard. All right, so let's pretend I just installed Divi on this. Oh, it's got an update available. So once you install Divi, you have a new bar that comes up down here that says Divi. And now this is all the added console pages that apply to Divi and allow you to customize the look and feel of your website. So before I start building, I go in here and I put my logo in and switch the default color palette to whatever my brand's colors are. So that this way, as I'm building and that little color bar comes up, I'm not having to type in the same color over and over. I can just click into my brand's particular colors. Makes it way easier. So set your colors, upload your logo here, and this is what will be in the menu bar on the top. You can add in your social profiles, shut off whatever you don't want on. And now under integrations here, this is where you will put your pixel code and Google Analytics code. Now in Facebook, under the business manager ad console, you're going to go find your pixel, and what it will do is give you a block of code. All you've got to do is copy and paste it. And this is what the code looks like here. So yeah, you'll be in Facebook. Oh, where'd it go? And it'll show you this big block of code. All you're going to do is copy and paste that into here. And then you can add another space and then paste in the Google Analytics as well. Same process. So now you've got your tracking, you've got the basics of your design set up, and now let's make a new page. And so we're going to make a like a coming soon page with Calendly integration. So add new page. And these are all of our website pages that we have right now. All right, so I'm going to type in test page, and we're going to click use Divi Builder. Cool. So now it opens up as a blank page. I can choose to use one of the themes, pre-made themes that they have, and they've got a bunch of them in here. So whether I want to, go design agency, coffee shop, yoga studio, anything that catches your eye, you can start off with that and go in and, swap out the pieces and everything. But I'm just going to start from scratch. So inside of the web page, you have three different sections. You have or three different pieces. You have a section, and within that section you have a row, and within that row you have your elements: pictures, text, buttons, whatever. So this blue part is a section. I'm going to add a row within that section, and it's going to be a split row, so I can have elements in each of these columns. So I'm going to add text here, and I'm going to add a picture here. And just have one that I already have. Oh, here, I'll put my logo. Cool. And so now I'm going to, if I want to modify how this row is set up, I can click here and make one side a little bit bigger than the other one, or I can make it go the other way. All depends on how you want to organize it. And this is where, the designing part actually comes in. I can increase the padding within there. It's a pretty intuitive builder. Just about everything you can do or need to do can be done using the mouse. Now, if I want to edit this text or edit the details about it, I have the gray bar come up here. I'm going to click the settings. So this is a whole settings panel for this text right here. I can add a link to it. I can change the background of the text. Here's all the other details about it. The font size, the spacing, and text shadow. And even under the advanced size here, I can make it only visible on a desktop or only visible on a phone. Tons and tons and tons of options. So what I'm going to do is add in my Calendly page, and I'll show you how to add in a block of code here. So let's go to my discovery call. I'm going to click share, add to website, embed inline, copy the code, customize the colors however I want. And I'm going to add a new row here. Sometimes if you can't get that plus sign to come up, you can click the outline view. I'm going to add a row. And then within that row, I'm going to add, see, there's all these different things you can add. Contact form, image, divider, map, number counter, just a bunch of different preset things. So I'm going to add in code. And this is a section of code that I can paste in this block. And boom, there's all the Calendly code. And I'm going to click save. And let's go ahead and publish this. Cool. So now my Calendly will pop up here. Now you won't see code blocks that you put in manually inside of the builder, but you can see them whenever you view the page from outside of that. So I'm going to go to my pages here, and this is our new page, test. I'm going to go ahead and click view. I don't know if this is the right page. No. Oh, it's a different website. Duh. Let me go to the dashboard for Bruno here. So pages. Yeah, I thought we named it like test page or something. There we go. Test page. And now I'm going to click view right there. And now it'll actually take me to the front facing version of the page. So I've got my text there, my image, and there's my Calendly within that page. Now let's say I wanted to make this just a basic page. I want to get rid of this footer and this bar across here. You know, I don't really have any options I want to give them. What I'm going to do is go into the page section here, click quick edit, and I'm going to change this to, you can see the template here is default, which means it has the header and footer and spaces in the middle. I'm going to make this blank with a container and no header and no footer. And you can see there's all a bunch of different options there. But blank container. And having a container just means that it has some space on the outside pieces of the central block of what you're seeing, so that it's not completely end-to-end for your screen. But you have that as an option if you have some sort of use case for that. So now let's view the page and see what we got. Oh, wrong side again. Dashboard page. I'm just going to close that out. Keeps confusing me. So there we go. Blank page. So I've got a little bit less options for that page design with header, footer, and this is with Divi. That other one was with Pro Theme. But I'm going to pick blank page to remove that header and footer. And let's take a look at it. There we go. So now this is what the front-facing sees whenever they go to brunocrypto.io/test page. And that's the basics of it. That's how you get a website going. Now, you want to make sure that this is the page that shows up whenever they type in your website. You're going to go into settings here within WordPress, reading, and select, I don't know why this is all white, but anyway, you can see the text here. Your homepage displays homepage, and select that is coming soon or home, booking, whatever you want to call it, and make sure it's set to a static page, and then click save changes. Now let me show you some plugins I like, and we'll go from there. Now I have a couple plugins I use. So security, it's basically like an antivirus for your website. Keeps an eye on things and blocks different attack vectors that might happen to your website. And it's free. It's pretty cool. I'm sure it has a pro version, but the free one's just fine. Yoast SEO. This is a great plugin if you want to customize and optimize your pages for Google. So let me show you what that's able to do. I'm going to show you a bad example first. So whenever I search something, Google makes these snippets here from the website page. It scrubs them and does its best to give you a title here and then a little snippet of the page. So as you can see, this one's pretty good. What is DNS? How does DNS work? And then the company, a domain name system turns domain names into IP addresses, which allows, so that's pretty good. It starts into an explanation. I can read it and understand it. But let me find a bad example. I have to go one page deeper. Okay, yeah, here, well, yeah, these two can work. So like this text doesn't really tell me anything. It's just a bunch of words. So that is suboptimal for a Google result, because like reading this just throws a bunch of words at me. It doesn't tell me anything. This is all right. What is DNS? How does DNS work? But the thing with Yoast SEO is that you can customize all of that stuff for each individual page. So you can customize this title, what that looks like when that page is shows up on Google. Same with this text, and there's a bunch of other pieces of the schema that Google looks at the page and does its best to interpret what's on it and show that into the Google search result. So if you want your pages to come up in Google and start growing their SEO rank, this is essential. You've got to have this filled out for each individual page and have the SERP, which is called SERP snippet. This little paragraph right here has to be written out in a good, intuitive way. And that plugin is free. Now, another one is Yoast duplicate page. So if you want to go to the plugin store here, you click add plugin, and you can upload one if you download it or purchase it from some other place or website. But I'm going to search Yoast duplicate. Boom, there it is, Yoast duplicate post. So this is sort of like an app store within WordPress. You can find plugins for just about anything you want, but it can get expensive if you're using plugins for all of your solutions, because a lot of times the paid ones are the ones that work the best, and you know, by design they want you to pay a couple bucks for their product. But these are all independent software makers that make these. Like you can see, this is made by WP Forms, Yoast team, some random person. Sort of like extensions for your browser, like Google Chrome and stuff. So once I added the duplicate post, what that allows me to do in the pages section here is I have clone. So I can copy and clone a page. That's the easiest way to do it without getting really complicated. If you want to duplicate a page and make, you know, A/B test something or make something that looks slightly similar. What else? What else? Is there one more plugin? Oh, yes. So Google Review. I'm going to show you how to get Google reviews into your website easily. So add new plugin. We're going to go to the store there. Google Review. Widgets for Google reviews. Oh, I have this set up on my website. I'll just show you on there. Of course. Okay. So this, whenever I install that Google Reviews plugin here, it adds this little trust index thing right here. So I'm going to click on that, and that takes me to the dashboard for my Google Reviews, and it'll take you through a whole setup process of connecting your Google account, selecting what your layout you want it to like. So here's slider 1, where you can click across and see all of them. Slider 2, this one has a badge and then slides through on the side. This one has the badge up top, and so on. And this is the one I use, I think, layout list 1. So this giant block right here, I can put anywhere in my web pages using this shortcode that it generates. So trust index, no registration, Google. So anywhere I want to put this on my website, all I've got to do is paste that into a code block of the pages. So I think I've got it on this one. So edit with Pro. And as you can see, this isn't Divi, but it has a very similar setup. So this is my section, and within that section I have the rows, and within those rows are the different items and different pieces of content, image, text, line, whatever. So this, I didn't have to build any of this. This plugin built it all for me. And all I did was put that code in this little content area section. I just pasted that short code, and what that does is the plugin generates all of this for me. So that's how you'll use short codes within WordPress. Those come up a lot, especially if you're using plugins to generate pieces of the page or things for you. But that's really it. I mean, much past this, you're just really diving more and more into building and getting things set up. But the ability to paste code and put it in and use the short codes, those are pretty key to doing whatever you like to do. So I hope this has been very informative. I tried to keep it under 50 minutes here, and I just barely did. So please, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments, and I will see you all next video.